This Friday, July 17th from 8 a.m. to this Saturday, July 18th at 5 p.m., the 2026 Southeastern Truck Nationals presented by LMC Truck returns to the Wilson County Fairgrounds in Lebanon. See more than 1,600 of the nation's finest GM trucks, from lifted to lowered builds to fully restored classics and everything in between. Tickets are $20. Kids 12 and under get in free.
Your sports live here. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. Smashville lives here.
Hey, it's Roman Yossi.
Ahead of Roman Yossi, out of the net, the puck picked over left side, and the score!
Your home for Nashville Predators hockey is 102.5 The Game. Live on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Good afternoon. I'm Connor Newt with your Game Center update. The Nashville Predators have announced their full 84-game schedule for the upcoming 2026-2027 NHL season. As announced yesterday, they will open at home Thursday, October 1st against the Minnesota Wild, then follow it up Saturday night in Smashville against Dallas in Bridgestone Arena Saturday, October 3rd. To wrap things up in the 84-game season, 7 of the Predators' last 10 games will be played at Bridgestone Arena against Boston, the New York Rangers, Buffalo, Chicago, Calgary, Seattle, and Dallas. At long last, we have a World Cup final matchup as Leo Messi and the Argentinians take down England yesterday after bouncing back from a 2-goal deficit to win 3-2. They advance to the final to take on Barcelona superstar Lamine Yamal and Spain. The game will be played Sunday at 3 p.m. in MetLife Stadium in New York, New Jersey, as Argentina looks to capture their back-to-back World Cup title. Spain has not won the World Cup since 2010 and are looking to secure their second title overall. In Major League Baseball, the Cincinnati Reds and former Tennessee Volunteer and Wake Forest Demon Deacon pitcher Chase Burns have reached an agreement on a 7-year, $105 million contract extension. The 23-year-old, in his first full season with the Reds, is 11-1 with a 2.54 ERA and 118 strikeouts in 102 2/3 innings. The deal has no club options and runs through 2033. It is also the largest deal ever for a pitcher who has yet to reach arbitration, and the third biggest contract in Reds history, behind Joey Votto and Ken Griffey Jr. For the Game Nashville Sports Network, I'm Connor Newt.
For more, log on to thegamenashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
35 years of the best sports talk in Nashville. It's the George Plaster Show with Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame quarterback Kelly Holcomb and young gun Lewis Maddox. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. But nobody's here. Hello again, everybody, and welcome in on this, right now, beautiful Thursday. However, as all of you know, we're now like Miami. If there's a day, it rains. So we're going to get quick introductions. Kelly Holcomb, former NFL quarterback in Murfreesboro. Kelly, say hello.
Hello.
Beautiful. Lewis Maddox, Columbia, Tennessee's finest. Say hello.
Hello.
That's it. That's all you get, because Danny Evans is with us on this Thursday afternoon. We'll open phones 3:35, 3:40, give or take. Danny, how you doing?
Konnichiwa, George. How are you?
What did that mean?
It means hello in Japanese. It's the warmest of Japanese greetings.
Very nice. So you know where we're going. A lot of people are worried about the All-Star Game, which to me has historically been the best of the 4 leagues by a mile. But what it feels like we've got now is a little bit of, I want to be named an All-Star, I want to get the All-Star bonus, but I really don't care about going. And I heard CC Sabathia a few days ago, and I want to kind of throw this one at you. He said, let's go basically All-Star break Thursday to Thursday so that none of the pitchers can use the excuse they're using now. Tell me what you think about that.
Well, first of all, good to be back with you, George, Kelly, Lewis.
Same
George,
here.
I'm a huge CC Sabathia fan. He's one of the finest people in the game. Just an extraordinary vibe. Yes, a Hall of Famer, but an even far superior person. He leads the Players Alliance, which is just an amazing group. They do great things in the neighborhoods. George, I think we have here is an exhibition game. And I think we have to remember that. It doesn't count in the standings. It's far superior to football, basketball, and hockey. It's not close. I think what they're starting to do is make the game a heck of a lot more fun. Dylan Cease and Langoliers calling
That was awesome.
pitches. Oh my gosh, putting the glove in front of their face. I thought that was incredible. Kathy's watching the game and said, "This is awesome." And I said, "Yeah, but it's not awesome for the hitter because the hitter doesn't know what's going on." George, what we have here is a game that needs to be a little bit more of a priority for the players to participate, not just be recognized as an all-star, but to actually participate. I understand injuries. Ohtani getting his knee drained. Come on. Skeen's unable to pitch. Mizorowski got scratched on Sunday. Those are blatant issues that are physical issues. But George, part of the problem now is teams, as much as the players, are starting to dictate player availability. And I think CC might have something there. But George, what we need to do is evolve as a game. Now, I can give you a little background, George. 1971 All-Star Game, Tiger Stadium. My dad took me to the game.
That ball's still going, by the way.
Oh my God. It's when I fell in love with the sport. There were 26 future Hall of Famers on the field. The most of any baseball game ever played. And as a result, we got in the car. My dad had to go to work the next day. So my dad hopped in the car. We didn't stay the night. We drove all the way back to Chicago, solid 6-hour ride. My father said I never shut up the entire time. I was going, how did Bench's ball go out? How come Clemente could hit a ball off his front foot that far? My father said later, "Oh my God, you were hooked." And George, I think what we have to remember is now the All-Star Game is a bunch of single inning performances. So Kelly, imagine if you have one series of plays, you're going to air it out a little bit. You're going to go deep. You want to show everybody, hey, I got a pretty good right arm. Here it comes. You're not going to measure the defense because nobody is measuring. You got one series of downs. These guys have 10 to 30 pitches, like in Sanchez's case. So, George, what we have to do a little bit is make it a little better for the entertainment value of the game, for the hitters to have a more positive experience. Because right now, if you were a player in that game, you batted 3 or 4 times, you saw 3 or 4 different all-star pitchers. And it's not the velocity, it's the elevation in talent. They're hyped up to be in that game. I think they need to do some more things for the people in the ballpark too. Because I've been to like 30 of those games, George, maybe even more. And the things we see on TV and in streaming, you don't get at the ballpark. And I think we have to incorporate maybe things that the fans can participate in decisions, things like that. And I also think we need to give the managers more pitchers to work with so they don't play the game fearful like Roberts did the other day. And he alluded to it in the interview with Schneider, which I thought was masterful in the 8th inning. And for me, one of the best parts of the game, where he was talking about how he was going to manage the pitching the rest of the game. He was tied. He literally had no chance to go with one extra pitcher. That's a humbling thing for a big league manager.
Okay, you're commissioner. What's the first thing you would do to bring this thing back to where we want it?
I think part of the discussion in the CBA negotiations is what can we do together to make our Midsummer Classic our selling point of our game, where we dominate the television and streaming industry because nothing else is in play. What can we do as partners to make this game more special for players to participate? And there's a lot of levels of that, George, but just collectively bargain how that looks. You know, they've added some things to the game. Guys who get mic'd up, I think they get $10,000 to $15,000. And, you know, everybody, oh, you know, he's making a lot of money. Hey, $10,000 to $15,000, not pocket change, okay? If you do that, you might give it to a charity. You might spend it on your family. Makes it easier to travel your family to the All-Star Game. The other thing I would think about, George, and I think it's just so important to us, is do something honoring the Hall of Famers who are coming in that year on the field to tie the past to the present. They do that in Japan. I'm not saying take away the Cooperstown ceremonies because they're magical, but have a moment where that year's inductees are in front of that year's All-Stars to give them the forum on the most watched game of the season. Let them get a little bit of pub, maybe put them on the field, make it something where, you know, maybe they're an honorary first base coach or they're the pitching coach that makes a change. What you're doing is linking the great history of the game to the great 1% that are in the hall and also celebrating today's stars.
You brought up something that kind of needs to be said again. You think that teams are deliberately maybe pitching a guy on a certain day where there's no way he can get involved in the All-Star game.
And George, shame on them.
Yeah.
And also putting restrictions on guys. Well, you can only warm them up this one time. Of course that's going to happen. You think Dave Roberts wants to blow somebody out? That's the fear every manager has. Caminero gets hit the other day. Hey, when we first saw that, we all thought the same thing. I guarantee it. We all thought, hey, this guy's in trouble. And this is one of the best players on one of the best teams. I think there has to be a collectively bargained situation where we all realize it's in our best interests to have our best players showcased in this mid-July game. There's a reason why they started the game in 1933 in Chicago. It was to showcase the best players. Now, George, interleague play has diluted some of the excitement where, oh my gosh, I'm going to see Freddie Freeman face somebody from the American League. Well, he's going to face him at some point. But it hasn't lost the luster of the great players being great. An example, and I know I'm a little long-winded here, but for Pete Crow Armstrong to come in and be one of the most impactful players in the game, an exciting member, the highest WAR in the National League, and him not get a plate appearance till the 8th inning, we as a game have to figure out a way for those players who are becoming today's icons. We've got to showcase them before kids go to sleep. Because when kids see the future, they get excited because they see somebody who looks like them and they want to be like them. The other thing, George, for me, I just think having guys like Verlander in the dugout, that's ginormous for the game. And I think Rob's done a great job putting people in place like Kershaw, just putting them in the dugout to celebrate them, but also celebrating who they've been to the game. I think if we lose that, we lose a lot of what the All-Star Game's all about.
Okay, one thing real quickly before we go to the break. Danny brought up 1971, and I alluded to something that a younger audience may not know about. As an Oakland A, Reggie Jackson in that game hit a ball off the old Tiger Stadium light tower. It is one of the most massive deals I have ever seen. Were you still in the park at that point?
It was right above us, George. We were in the right field upper deck, and we heard the thing hit the transmitter. And George, it was unbelievable. It was like, how did that happen? And George, years later, I don't know, 10 years later, I'm in Tiger Stadium with the White Sox. I got out of that dugout. I looked right up to the transformer because 11-year-old me remembered Jackson's home run. But George, one more thing in that game. Look what they did. The A's had like 4 different uniforms in that game, which was really cool. Vita Blue didn't have the same jersey as Reginald Martinez Jackson. Okay. It was really, really cool. But what they did this year, George, and I know you and I talked about it, they brought the unis back. Yeah. And everybody wore their own uniform. I thought that was a masterful stroke to skip all that American League, National League stuff. Let's wear the uni with a cool hat and let's celebrate the franchises that make up the sport.
Let's go. Okay. After the break, Kelly Holcomb, Lewis Maddox, they'll get a crack to fire some questions at Danny Evans. Again, we'll take phone calls for Danny somewhere at 3:35, 3:40. So get ready. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
If you are struggling with back pain, neck pain, or stubborn nerve pain that hasn't responded to the usual medications or injections, listen closely. At the Dr. Gill Center, we help patients discover why they hurt and how to find relief without surgery. We are Middle Tennessee's leaders in back pain treatment and non-surgical spinal decompression, a gentle advanced technology designed to reduce pressure on the spine, restore space between discs, and help the body heal naturally. Our patients aren't just looking for another temporary fix. They want expertise. They want options they haven't been offered. They want a team that actually listens. And that's exactly what you'll find at the Dr. Gill Center. If you've been told there's nothing else to try or surgery is next, it's time for a different approach. Call 615-882-4838 or visit callmepainfree.com to schedule a comprehensive evaluation and see if non-surgical spinal decompression is right for you. Make 2026 the year you get out of pain. Call 615-882-4838 today.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women, because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
We're off and running on a Thursday afternoon where, to my count, it's only rained once, but that doesn't mean it won't rain again. Kelly Holcomb, say hello to Danny Evans.
Danny, how you doing, big dog?
I'm well, Kelly. How about you?
So I was watching the other night, and there was a pitcher out there that had played in Japan, and I know you know who I'm talking about. And when he got into the league, I think he's been there for like 10 years, but he went over to Japan. Early on in his league, he had a significant injury. So what are your thoughts about Foster Griffin and the accolades he's getting later on in his career? And he goes over to Japan, and he kind of heals his career, and then he comes back, and then he's an all-star.
Kelly, great question. You know, what Griffin did is what a few other guys have done, but didn't make the All-Star team. He went over, he had Tommy John surgery. It didn't go well. He struggled. He had a couple of years off. He went back over there to basically control, alt, delete his career, got himself in great shape. Japanese baseball is an elite level of baseball, as we can see from the guys who are coming over. I mean, Murakami, Yamamoto, Ohtani, Okamoto, hello, okay? And I think what we have over there is a nurturing ability for them to straighten themselves out and get themselves back to a point where they can sell their wares anywhere in the world. He could either stay in Japan, go to KBO, or come back to North America. I think what he's doing this year is remarkable, but it's also a testimony that the Nationals are doing things well internationally because they were able to see him over there and view him as a candidate to help their 26 club. I thought it was a great story, and Kelly, I give you tons of credit for noticing that.
So let me. This just came to my mind. Let me ask you this, Danny, because you've talked about how many times you've been and watched. You love Japanese baseball. Just talked about what a great product it is. What do people think over there? Because that's a proud society. Well, what do they think about the guys that come over here and play? Are they excited about that, or they're upset that they leave? What are their thoughts?
They're thrilled for them because they have watched Nomo, Ichiro, all the really great players, Matsui, Sasaki, all the guys come over and perform. And most, Kelly, have performed at a really high level. They were great high school players. They supported him in their Koshien tournament. They played for their NPB team. And what they do, Kelly, is they play in North America. And then at the end of their career, they come back. A lot of them have come back in really important roles with their former team, general manager, president, manager, coach. They're fine with it. And Kelly, one of the most amazing experiences, because of the time difference, is to be in Shibuya Crossing, which is the busiest intersection in the world. It's at the busiest train station in the world. There's something like 2 million people a day who go through there.
Oh, gosh.
And in this 8-way intersection, when the All-Star Game's on and one of their guys are in the middle of an at-bat or a pitching performance, traffic stops, the intersection stops, and people watch
cool.
it. I've been there during the All-Star game. It is unbelievable when a Japanese player is involved because they're in the middle of their workday, 15 hours later, and subsequently, Kelly, what they do is they embrace it. So I think it's fascinating. I put in our note to our fans, there were 203 nations who covered that game live on Tuesday night. So the game globally is a huge game. But for a Japanese player, like Murakami's at bat in the 7th or the 8th inning, I'll bet you that was watched by about 80% of the viewers in Japan.
So I know your thoughts on the All-Star game, and I've asked you this question before, and I know you've been a general manager, and I love asking because I've got another general manager question for you after this one. But when Junior Cabanero gets hit, everybody holds their breath, man. And I know what your thoughts are about the All-Star game because, it's been there forever, but I'm sure there's some general managers that don't feel the same way. And I'm sure there's some general managers that manage scared sometimes and they don't like sending their players to that stuff because of stuff like that happen. What do you say to that? And what are your thoughts on that? Because I know when you had to send players too, you worried about that, but that is part of the game and that's part of the All-Star game and that's part of what's making it great.
Kelly, I think you bring up a great point. You've got to be selfish about your players. You know that.
Yes.
I mean, you play professionally. These are your teammates. You lose your best running back, your center. It's a huge loss for your team, right?
Right.
And you can't replace him.
Right.
If you lose a guy on July 14th and he's out for the rest of the year, that could cost you the postseason. That could cost you, that could cost you excellence on the field. So the thing about it, Kelly, is this. You got to think about what's in the best interest of the game. Having your uni and your player in 203 countries sells uniforms, sells hats, sells awareness for your club. But when Cabanero got hurt, the first thing I said was, oh my gosh, this is the worst part when guys get hit because you can't control it. Right. We don't have the contact. But, Kelly, there could be a play at second base, could be a guy hitting the wall, could be a foul ball, a guy runs into a railing. But there could also be a drive on the way to the airport where a guy gets rear-ended. I mean, you just don't know. I think we've got to do what's in the best interest of our game. And if everybody's on board, and it's not a mandate from on top, it's a mandate collectively that we need to promote our sport, and that's the stage we do it. You don't worry about some of the little nuances. What did Harper say the other day? Hey, may as well have an appeal here. We haven't done one yet tonight. I thought that was fun. It was comical. But we as a game need to do what's best for the game itself. And sometimes that means, hey, check your personal issues and check your selfishness, but that can't be a pervading thing through the game because, Kelly, all it takes is one or two teams and it can screw everything. Imagine right now if the Dodgers said, our 7 guys, we don't want them to play. Right. I mean, that's 1/4 of the roster. You can't do that as a game.
Right. Okay. So, general manager question here. Since I've been on here with you the last 3 or 4 years, when it gets to the trade deadline, we got buyers and sellers. That's the big cliche. We got buyers and sellers. So I was looking today, doing a little show prep, and the Red Sox and the Tigers. Like they weren't very good, and now they've gotten on a hot streak. And everybody was talking about Tarek Skubal getting traded. When you're in that situation and you're not sure what kind of team you got, and then you get on a hot streak like that, how do you do it as a general manager? Do you say to yourself, okay, this is just this is fleeting in the wind. I don't know if we're going to be able to make the playoffs. That's a tough question right there, because there's some, the Red Sox have Sonny Gray and Aroldis Chapman that they can get rid of. Tark Skubal, some other guys for the Tigers. Like, that is the $1 million question that you have to think about as an organization. How do you go about that? Because when you're not very good right now, and then you get hot, can you keep that up? Because we know we go through ups and downs in baseball. There's so many games. How do you go about that as a general manager?
Okay, it's not $1 million question, Kelly. I think we're talking $1 billion question.
Yes.
And here's the problem, Kelly, and it's a phenomenal question. The public side of you versus the private side of you has two entirely different conversations. Because if you're on the fence, and to the fans, to the listeners, Kelly, Lewis, George, there's only 7 teams that are out. There's 23 teams who right now are telling their fans we got a shot, but only 12 are getting in.
Right.
So almost half the teams are not going to get in to what they're telling their fans they're going to be in. So here's the key. What you say internally is something like this. Lewis, Kelly, I mean, you've watched us. Do we have a chance to get in? And if so, how deep can we go? Because,
right.
Kelly, if you go in to lose 2 games and you're done, what kind of risk reward are you playing with?
Right.
But you may sit across the table and say, Danny, I think we can win the World Series this year. Well, all of a sudden, you got a 2.5-month platform. Hey, I might push my chips in. The owner gets involved. The media gets involved. Your marketing gets involved. Kelly, this is an entertainment vehicle that you are driving. And you don't realize it until the question you asked gets asked of you by the owner. Where do you think we are? Today, July 16th, you've had to have all of your homework done on the players. The deadline's August 3rd. So, Kelly, here's the problem. Publicly, you're telling everybody I'm in. We're excited. We've won 9 in a row. We got a shot. Internally, you may not be saying that. Right. That's the tightrope that I found fun as heck, but also challenging as could be. And in a larger market, it plays hard, but it also plays hard in a place like Pittsburgh, where they haven't been in for a while. And now suddenly they're a good club. What are you going to do? You have to be careful about what you say publicly and privately. And Kelly, I'll tell you what, heck of a challenge this time of the year.
Can you hear Lewis? I can't hear him. Can you
now
hear
I
him?
Can. No,
okay.
Hold on. Go ahead, Lewis. No. I wish I were a lip reader, Kel.
Well,
okay.
How about now?
Goes.
Now we got you.
I think we had to bring George's camera in for me to get heard.
Okay.
So I'm kind of wondering, based off of that answer that you just gave, who do you think is having those internal conversations right now among those 22 teams, which is the majority of the league, obviously? Who's having those conversations like, yeah, we could go and we could make a deep run in this postseason this year?
Atlanta.
So, Lewis, super question. I think there's 3 different groups having those questions. And it's always the owner. The owner's completely involved right now. And he should be. He or she should be, because they're in charge of the organization. They're the lightning rod. The conversations have 3 different levels. It's the team like the White Sox, like the Pirates, that are suddenly relevant again. And it's time to do something to show your fans you're not taking this for granted. It's the fence sitter, like Detroit was a great point, Kelly. I mean, what they're going to do with Skubal, I don't know. I know what I would do. I'd move them. But they've got their own things that they're thinking about.
Right.
But they are a club, along with Boston, along with St. Louis. You got to make a decision right now. Who are we? Lewis, to fully answer, they might take the next week. If I'm the Cardinals, I took a look. The Cardinals have a couple series. They should be okay. But if I'm Boston, I got Tampa Bay this weekend, a 4-game series. Some of these clubs are going to let the next few days dictate. That tends to be a very nimble, needed type situation. But then, Lewis, there's the third group. That's the Dodgers, the Braves, the Phillies. That's teams that know they have a shot to win the whole darn thing if they make precise moves in the next 3 weeks. For them, they have to be nimble because the other teams, 23 other teams, are having those conversations. And Lewis, some clubs are playing the indoor and the outdoor, where they're saying to George, we get knocked out. Yes, he's available. But George, in the meantime, we would like to talk to you about so-and-so, because if we're able to add because of where we are in the standings, we think we'd have a shot. Luckily, I haven't had to do that very often, but when I did, oh my gosh, is that tough, because you're having two completely different conversations.
And what's the separator there for, obviously this is, to me, the biggest point in the season to this point, this half month from All-Star weekend to the trade deadline in early August. What's the separator between a team that is poised to be able to be in the position to say they can go far and a team that isn't?
Great question. It's gut feel, Lewis, and I'll tell you why. For everybody listening, August 3rd, the trap door opens. You can't make any more trades. You're done. So you've got to decide, is this club good enough? And you no longer have the marionette strings. You can't add, you can't really do anything to solidify your team. So Lewis, there is no analytics, there is no scouting. It's all gut feel. It was once described to me, and it's really wonderful. It's, who are you right now, not in public, right here in this inner circle? Who are we? We're going to bet our collective professional reputations on who we're going to be October 1st. Not many people are good at forecasting 2.5 months from now. Nostradamus never ran a big league team. Okay. So subsequently, what you have to do is you got to trust your inner circle, but also, what kind of pressure do you have on? A GM who's got to win or he's fired. An owner who's trying to build a ballpark or trying to sell his team. Think about Minnesota. They're trying to sell the club. If they get in, that enhances the value of their team. Every team has its own dynamic. And Lewis, there's 23 dynamics going on right now. It's a fascinating July 16th question.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of those teams probably are having, I guess it's hard to have those conversations internally when, you're not really hearing a lot internally. You're hearing a lot externally from the media of who your team is.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
And Lewis, your manager, your pitching coach, all your coaches, your field staff, your support staff, they don't want you to bail.
Right.
They're looking to get in. That monetizes them and makes their career more valuable. So you are in a vacuum as the general manager, and the owner is relying on you and your group to make a good decision. This is when careers are made or broken. And it's made because your internal group knows the heat's on. This is when you make decisions that benefit or ruin a franchise.
Lewis, think about this one. He brought it up earlier. Red Sox, Tampa Bay, 4-game series, day-night doubleheader Friday. Yep. Red Sox lose all 4. They're going to start selling. Sonny Gray to Atlanta, we hope.
Yep.
You win 4 out of 4. You push all your chips in. By golly, the Red Sox are in.
That's wild.
If you win 2 out of 4,
right.
What do you do?
You know what, George? It's not only what do you do? Oh my God, I just lost 4 days on the calendar, and I really don't know what I can do. And that guy who pitched for the Red Sox Friday night can't pitch for me until Tuesday.
Hey, Danny, one more thing for me. Kind of want to flip a switch in your brain real quick. We announced yesterday and heard yesterday an NCAA subcommittee approved the use of the ABS system in collegiate athletics for baseball. I mean, what can you tell us about that? Because George brought up a good question. We've only seen that system in the MLB and on TV. I mean, how does that work for a smaller school where their games aren't on TV?
Well, it worked in the minor leagues. It worked in the minor leagues having in-house closed circuit broadcasts that, could be reviewed. The problem is the operators. You're going to have 300 to 500 schools trying to really get that right. I think it's obviously worked in Major League Baseball this year. We're all comfortable with it in mid-July. But I think adding it to the D1, 2, 3 schools, Lewis, it's going to be a challenge, but I think it makes the game better. And I think, as I said in one of our March conversations, guys, it's all about getting it right. And if we get it right, people are more and more enthusiastic about the rule. It's when we didn't get it right that there's questions.
Okay, let's do this as we go to the break. I want to get some baseball phone calls for Danny at 615-759-9949. Then we'll check the chat room, if you want to call it that, see if there's anything there that we need to get Danny to comment on. So hit those phones now at 615-759-9949. Your baseball questions for Danny Evans are next on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hottest track in town, Nashville sounds baseball. Welcome to Hit City.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Clarksville, get ready. Because when the doors open at F&M Bank Arena, the noise rises.
At the Nashville Cats.
The walls shake. And the Cats take control. Fast plays. Big hits. Non-stop arena football. Get in the den. Get your season tickets now.
You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you.
Liberals don't get it, but it's pretty obvious. Their policies are messed up. That's why pro-Trump conservative Johnny Garrett spearheaded legislation banning men from playing girls' sports. Garrett's a married father of 3 and endorsed by Riley Gaines. Garrett will protect girls' sports and stop the radical left pushing sex changes for minors. We need more Tennessee in D.C., and Trump needs an ally. Vote conservative Johnny Garrett for Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, and I approve this message.
Okay, I'm a little embarrassed to say that we haven't got a phone call on the line, but as soon as I say that, we might. Then again, we might not. So I got all these lines open. If you want to talk with Danny, do it now at 615-759-9949. But you better hurry on this. Let's get a question off the chat, and then we'll kind of see where we go.
Yeah, we've got a question off of YouTube that says, Danny, is there more high school players skipping college to go straight in the pros? They think to seem that is the case.
There's more college players being selected by a percentage than ever before. And the reason is they're closer to the big leagues. They're more physically mature, more emotionally mature. The trend about 20 years ago was even, and it was also more high school than college, but now it's about 75-25 college drafts over high school drafts. And it's just a matter of fewer minor league teams, fewer rounds in the draft. A kid in the first 2 or 3 rounds who is going to be selected will get the money that probably makes sense for them to go. But a high school kid is probably better off maturing, becoming a more impactful player, and then getting drafted 3 years later.
Okay, take another one.
All right. Danny, would holding an all-star team tryout of sorts not be a way to create some hunger to play for an all-star team?
And
how do you do that in the regular season?
Yeah, but you know what's really fun? This is a question from a baseball fan in South Africa. He's in Johannesburg right now. So look at the outreach of Kelly and George and Lewis. Oh my gosh, this is huge. But I think an in-season tryout is really hard. Other sports have tinkered with that a little bit. I think other sports tell us that's probably not a good move. It's better to have everybody in place. Think about the Canada Cup. Think about some of the exhibitions that go on, the Olympics, for instance. I think it's better to do it that way, and here's why. If you think you're worried about injuries for the All-Star Game, imagine an injury being sustained within a tryout. I would have so many questions about why.
Go ahead, Lewis.
I'm trying to find another one. I was reading something that was actually from Danny here in the chat, but
okay, hold on a second. I'll go here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Danny, you know, there's been a lot of fun. I don't know if it was Kelly or a caller said, do you see, George, when you're driving, do you see the Phillies in your rear view mirror? And the answer I gave was not yes, but oh, hell yes. And even worse, I see Don Mattingly in my rear view mirror. And deep down at the moment, it's hard not to believe the Phillies overtake the Braves. But I'm going to toss one out there that is, So apparently our phones are screwed up because I now have 2 callers telling me that. So my apologies. I have no idea what's going on back at the station on that. So tonight, Aaron Nola starts for Philly. And Aaron Nola at the moment is 3-6 with a 5.75 ERA. And you and I both know that when he's right, he's a heck of a pitcher. But Danny, if they don't get that figured out, bravos.
Yeah. You know, George, if you have a newer model car, you know that little yellow light that comes on in your rear view mirror telling you objects are closer than they really appear. That's what the Braves see in the rear view mirror right now. They see the Phillies. And George, I think it'll be a good test for the Braves. They've gone through some injuries. They've gone through some offensive malaise for a while. Now they're starting to get their guys back in the second half. I think they've got a better ball club in the second half than they do in the first half. But it's hard to not acknowledge where the Phils are. And for that matter, where the Marlins are. Okay? I mean, you're not looking at a distant situation. They are both within a series of being with you. That's a great test for a club. And for a guy like Weiss, it's just as good as it is for a guy like Mattingly, because the inner competitor of you, George, when you got a 10-game lead on May 20th, it doesn't mean a damn thing. And everybody keeps reminding you, this right here, those guys sat around during the break and they know the Phillies are right behind them. Now it's a matter of having this first series against the Rangers at home. I think they're home again after that series too. You got to get out of the gate and play well to diffuse some of that momentum. Nola, hey, George, I represented him early in his career. He is a terrific kid. I'd be worried about him figuring it out. He may not, but the Phillies are going to give him every chance to figure it out.
Because they got to have him.
No question.
This is a question from one of the people who was trying to call on the phones. And let me just sort of repeat what another caller said, that when you call, something is screwed up with the phones. Getting a message can't complete the call. So
yeah, Christian back at the station, everything's in order, but they're not going through. So something with that lightning strike probably messed them up.
So this caller says, ask Danny why he doesn't believe in the Moneyball theory.
Well, that's pretty easy. I think, first of all, it's farcical. I think it's a lot of nonsense. It's a lot of fairy tale and make-believe. A lot of it is completely not true. What's really funny, George, I never saw the movie, never read the book. I lived it, and we were so pioneering 15 to 18 years before that movie came out, that movie was kind of old news with some of the subjects, but so many of the things in the movie flat out didn't happen. And the arrogance that some of the people displayed would never work with a major league team on an extended basis. It just doesn't work. We play every day. And candidly, it didn't work. The Oakland A's haven't played in the World Series the entire time. The game, the dinosaurs in the game caught up with them. And now you have them in Sacramento where they're not even in Oakland anymore. I'm just not a Moneyball guy, George. I believe in old school, new school mix, but I believe in getting it right. And what they pretended in Moneyball was that a general manager can manage a game on the field. And that flat out does not work, has not worked, and will never work. And as a result, I look at that movie and I go, fine, believe in it all you want, but I believe the game should be played with a mix of old and new school and making good decisions.
Tony in Nolansville, by way of text, says to me, with the Cubs having the third toughest second half schedule, do they add pitchers from possibly the Reds or the Pirates within the division, or are your odds better going out of the division?
I think you got to go after the best guy, George. You got to go over the guy who fits for you strategically, financially, and culturally. And George, here's the thing. Jim Fregosi, rest his soul, gave me great advice early in my career. Don't ask a guy to be that guy if he hasn't been in the race before, because it's jarring to the guy. His family's back in his former city. He doesn't know any of his teammates, and he's asked to be a mercenary. Now, I will tell you, George, some guys don't respond to that very well. Others, and you mentioned it earlier, CC Sabathia is like the the poster boy for that. I mean, what he did in Milwaukee was stunning. So what you have to do, George, is figure out who fits and chase the best guy. And don't worry if they're in your league or in your division. And George, don't try to make the best deal. Make what's the best deal for you.
Danny, let's go back. Let's go back to the All-Star Game. What did you think about? And one of the most exciting parts of the All-Star Game is the home run derby, and that was one of the more exciting home run derbies we've seen in a while. But what did you think of the new rules that they had? Because I thought it was pretty good, and the pressure that the Jordan Walker kid was under. Just to keep going and come up and beat Kyle Schwarber with all the fans booing. We know the fans in Philly are passionate. But what did you think of the home run derby and all the changes?
Admittedly, Kelly, I was in the middle of a 13-hour car ride, so I didn't see it. Recorded it, watched it on delay. I thought it was awesome. I love the new rules. It adds a component of pressure. But let's talk about Walker for a second. What a great story. A year ago, everybody was calling for his head and ripping the Cardinal hierarchy who believed in him and stuck with him. Now the guy is a legitimate stud. He's not just an all-star, but he's the home run champion. And I think he showed us something Monday night that none of us knew about him. I really like the home run derby. I like the futures game. I like the red carpet, and I like the game. Kelly, I think we showcase our game really well. But the fun thing about the home run hitting contest that could be added, if we played a little small ball, we played a little accuracy thing, or we played a bunting game to go along with the big boppers, because then everybody could see themselves in that mix.
Danny, we've got one here.
Got about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Which first half surprise do you believe is actually sustainable?
Team or player?
We'll take both.
Well, from a team standpoint, I think the White Sox are going to win 80-83 and have a shot. In that division, nobody's going to run away. I think it is sustainable, but not without an addition. I think Cleveland, sustainable. I think Pittsburgh is a sleeper team in the second half because I think they're starting to believe in themselves. And I still think Milwaukee is one of the best teams you can imagine. And they're so tough in the second half. It's going to be a really fun second half of the season.
Should I be rooting for the Red Sox to lose? Thus, Sonny Gray on the market. Thus, Nashville's Sonny Gray to the Hotlanta Braves. Got 45 seconds to agree with me.
So, George, I've been there. I've been in the ballpark, or I've been watching on the game on TV with a scout in the ballpark, hoping they lose. He doesn't pitch well, and we acquire him for his next start. Sonny Gray would be a great addition. He's such a good athlete, so competitive, and he gets it. He knows what it's like to pitch in that environment. I think he'd be a great addition. But, George, I've been there, and, boy, you talk about getting pressure from both sides. It's a treat to watch the ball game, knowing that them losing makes him more available.
Danny, apologize on the phones. I'm sorry we weren't able to make that happen, but sure was glad you were on with us.
Well, it was good. And thanks to the fans for using the chat so effectively that we're able to go back and forth despite the phone outage. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. And, Georgie, big Tampa Bay fan right now, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And thank you. Okay, hour number one's done. Kelly Holcomb's top 10 wide receivers in the NFL.
Here we go.
Even though he hates doing it. You know what? Suck it up. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Hour number 2 of the George Plaster Show, as always, starting off with the Apple Collision Center's stat of the day. George, ready for it?
Well, yeah, and I can tell Kelly's ready for it because he's nowhere to be found.
Kelly Holcomb's back.
There he is.
Looking lovely.
Mr. Sunshine.
Oh, always.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, fellas. Which MLB team was the first expansion franchise to win a World Series?
Okay, let's think about that. It wasn't the Astros. The Mets won it all in 69. I don't know if the Twins were considered an expansion franchise. Kelly, I'm going Mets. What are you going with?
Oh gosh, really, George? You're smarter than I am with this stuff. So I know the Marlins won it too, right? But that's kind of too close to.
That would have been in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Well, the Marlins won it in 97, I think. I'm going Mets.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.
First MLB expansion franchise to win a World Series, the New York Mets in 1969.
Oh, yeah.
Atta babe, George.
So, couple of things about the old 69 Mets, Kelly, that you may or may not know.
Phyllis.
You know who they played in the divisional playoff? Because back then, it was two teams that would play in the playoffs in a league. The winner of the Eastern Division, the winner of the Western Division. Who did the Mets play to get to the World Series?
69. Would it be the Reds?
Your Atlanta Braves. Okay,
you know
so
what? I thought I knew you were going to go there.
So the Braves get bombed in the first two games in Atlanta. And the third game was in the middle of the week. And you know how they used to do in school where they'd let you watch a game?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever the teacher was, I was 9 years old. They let us watch it. And the whoever the Mets starting pitcher was did not do well. And they brought in a young fireballer who completely shut down Atlanta. Little 10-year-old Georgie was distraught. Do you know who that fireballer was? In 1969.
You're grilling him. I'm glad it's not me.
Gosh. I do not. I know.
Nolan Nolan Ryan.
Whoa.
Was it really Nolan Ryan?
Nobody'd
Wow.
heard of Nolan
What
Ryan.
a pull. That's insane.
He
Oh, that's
comes
right,
in
man.
and just goes crazy. Then in the World Series, now think about
George,
this.
hold on for a second. Wasn't he struggling up until that point? Wasn't Nolan Ryan? Didn't he struggle a little bit? And then
A little bit.
in that postseason, he came in, and that's when he started taking off.
That was probably the confidence point for him.
Right.
So you get to the World Series, and most of the world does not believe in the Mets. But
Right.
Shea Stadium is hopping. You think about the excitement, and that's a little bit like, what the Knicks just went through. And they're playing a great Baltimore team that ultimately will have 4 different 20-game winners a year later. Dave McNally, Mike Cuellar, Tom Phoebus. Why can I not remember the 4th?
I already remembered a lot, George. That's a long time ago, homie. You got a mind like an elephant.
Trapdoor up there.
We're already proud of
of useless info. Anyway, the Mets won it in 5, and I remember we watched that one at the old school. Because remember, it was not until 1972 that somebody got the bright idea to play World Series games at night.
Right.
Pat Dobson, wow.
Oh, okay.
Pat Dobson and Jim Palmer. Phoebus did not win 20. Wow. Okay, well.
They used to allow us to do a lot of things back in the day at school, man. I can remember watching the SEC tournament in basketball. We used to watch it in PE class, man, at Fayetteville City Junior High, baby.
How about that?
Nice.
So are we prepared to do your little
sure
dog and pony show?
And you know what? The phone lines are down, so nobody's going to rip me today. Yeah.
Oh, but you
couldn't
can
have
do
picked
it
a
by
better
text.
day.
Yeah,
If you don't like what he's putting out there.
And it's a shame because I only have one question on this list. I had a bunch for the other one, but I only got one
So
for today's.
I want to
know
ask.
which one go ahead.
I want to ask
I know
one
you know.
question about one receiver that I think consistently, year in and year out, gets it done, and nobody pays any attention to him. Have any idea who I'm talking about?
Mike Evans.
Nope.
Oh.
Well, people paid attention to Mike Evans. Cooper Kupp is people's paid attention to him before, George. So
Terry McLaurin.
Oh, okay.
Who? Tell me
Scary
again.
Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin.
Oh yeah, the Diablo
With the
Redskins,
with the
yeah, or
Commanders.
the Commanders. Yes,
The
absolutely.
what?
No, you're right. You're right. The Commanders.
Nobody ever talks about him, and yet
No,
he
you're right.
just year in and year out puts up great numbers. Just a thought. Okay, we
No,
ready to
I agree.
unveil your little whatever?
Yeah, we're ready.
Sure.
Okay. Now,
I mean, where are you getting
Kelly-
these pictures from, Lewis?
Dude, I'm a magician. Don't
You're
question it.
killing
oh
me
my
with these
goodness,
pictures,
look
man.
at that. I didn't even notice it. For those
I mean,
of
you're
you who
killing
are
me with. Yeah, you're killing me with these pictures, Lewis.
for those of you who are not watching this but listening, on the podcast form of this, Lewis has put a picture of Kelly with a Riverdale shirt on and a ridiculous looking hat.
It's hot outside, George. I'm
the
trying to
back
wear
of that
one of those.
neck is going to be
Yeah, that's
shielded
more
from the
important.
sun for sure.
That's right. That's more important than what the hat looks like, man. It's shielding your face and the back of your neck from the sun.
There ain't nothing wrong with a good bucket hat.
Okay, fine. So, how did you not put Jackson Smith in Jigba number 1 by himself? Talk to me about that.
Because I think Jamar Chase is an all-around better guy, but I don't think by much. And that's why I put him at 1A, 1B, but Lewis put him at 1 and 1A.
Okay, so
I think
that was
Jamar
George then.
Chase.
That is my bad.
Jamar Chase is, I mean, all these guys are elite, George, but Jamar Chase, I love watching the guy. It's amazing that he and Justin Jefferson, which is, second on my list, played together with Joe Burrow at LSU. So no wonder they won a national championship. But Jamar Chase is just, he's kind of a thicker guy. He was outside. They've moved him inside. He can move all over. He's a great route runner. He's a good yards after catch guy. He had the injury bug a little bit, but I've seen him make plays over and over and over again, and I think he and Joe Burrow are really dynamic together. And I think Jamar Chase is the guy. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba just kind of showed up. He didn't show up on the scene last year, but everybody kind of knows him now. And I talked a lot about him in that Seattle run where they were trying to double team him and they couldn't double team him. I think he's, they're starting to move him inside and outside, getting him matched up too. Both those guys are great, and I would love having both of them on my team. I just think Jamar Chase is a little bit older, a little bit more experience, and that's why I put him there. But Jackson Smith and Jigba is, if he has another year like he had this past year, he will overtake Jamar Chase. So,
okay, you sort of said it. He just kind of came out of nowhere. Now, it's not as though we didn't know he was a decent football player.
Right.
But we didn't expect a rise from, I don't know, not maybe middle of the pack, but to the very top. How did he do it?
It was obviously always in there, George. He's obviously a hard worker. Those guys that get to that elite level, man, they've got a lot of ability, but they're hard workers. And I don't think many people knew of him. I can't say that. Like, he's an Ohio State guy. Ohio State's become like, wide receiver U is what it's become. Yeah, and they've got a lot of guys that have played there. They're getting them out of there. It's a factory now. I just think he came on the scene last year, and just watching him in the playoffs and watching him do what he did last year, and he and Sam Darnold kind of hooked up, and he's one of those guys you can't cover. You can't you can't match him up one-on-one because he's going to beat you. Now you try to roll coverage to him and you leave other guys open, but now even when they're rolling coverage to him, he's still getting open. Or when you're double teaming him, he's still getting open. And Sam Darnold has enough faith to understand what he's doing and know that, hey, I don't care what you put on him. I know that I've got him, and I know he's going to get open for me. So I just think both of those guys are really good players, and that's why they're 1A and 1B to me.
Seeing JSN in person last season in Nashville when they played against the Titans, that dude, he's good, something else, man.
He's
good.
Something
else.
He's got that quick twitch that it's hard to. He's just got it, man. He's got it, and he can catch the ball, and that's the combination that you have to be a lead in that league.
So let's go back to the list. Let's put it up there. And Kelly, Justin Jefferson, I thought there was a point where he may have been the best receiver in the league, but the truth of it is, if he's dropped it all, it's not his fault.
It's because of his quarterback.
Yeah. And I admire the fact that he has not popped off the way I thought he might. I give him a lot of props for that.
No, and he's a really good player too. And I'm going to go back to say what I said with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Just think about that, George, having those guys on a team and they're 1 and 2 in the National Football League, being ranked by a lot of people, not just me, but a lot of people. And just think about having those. If you're Joe Burrow, right there to throw to each and every time you go back to pass. So Justin Jefferson is one of those guys that he can take the top off the field. He's fast, and he's one of those guys that has a catch radius. He's going to go up and get it. He's great on 50-50 balls. He's a great receiver. And I think the reason he had a good year with Sam Darnold, but then with J.J. McCarthy and all the things that are going on at the quarterback position, it's hard to get any continuity as a receiver when you've got guys that are injured and then you're having to play with another guy. And then this year they got Kyler Murray coming in. Who knows how that's going to be, but he is an elite guy, no doubt.
There's a reason that 2019 LSU team is considered the best college football team that has ever taken the field. And it's because of those two guys more than not.
So let's go down to number 3 with Puka Nacua, because by the end of last season, it was apparent that there were some real off-field issues going on. Kelly, when he's right, he's amazingly good, and the Rams have got to have him right because they think they can win it all.
Yeah, he's really good, George, and he came into the NFL with not a lot of accolades, but there's a reason that they got rid of Cooper Kupp, and they felt like they could get rid of Cooper Kupp, and it's because of Puka Nacua. The guy he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's big. And the thing that I love about him is he's not scared to go over the middle, and he'll make those catches that he knows he's going to get hammered. And he's a bigger guy. He's a good route runner. And just like most of these guys, all these guys on this list have good catch radiuses, man. They can catch the ball. If you give it to them and you put it anywhere close to them, they're going to catch it. They can catch in traffic. That's the great thing about Puka is he'll catch it in traffic, and he knows he's going to get hammered. Not a lot of guys will do that, George. And he has got a thicker body. And I think with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford and what they do offensively, you watch Matthew Stafford in a game, and it's kind of like the Jackson Smith and Jigba deal with Sam Darnold. Like Matthew Stafford on third downs, you know where he's going. He's going to Puka. Like he's going to force the ball into him because he knows if it's a contested catcher, there's people around him. He's still got a chance to catch it. So it's amazing how he's come onto the scene. Like he's not the fastest guy in the world, but man, can he make plays.
And Kelly, tell me if you agree with this. When it comes to a go ball down the sideline or an out route, anything on the sideline, he's the best to do it.
Dude, he's really good. He'll go catch it, and that's what I'm saying. He's got guys all around him. He'll have 2 guys all around him, guys grabbing at his shirt, and his focus on that ball. You know, we always go to the Titans practices, and they're always catching the ball, and they've always trying to mess with him and do all that stuff. But he's really good at focusing on the tip of that football and catching it. And he's obviously got big hands, which they love. But he is just a guy that he's a bona fide ball player. That's what my coach used to always say, George. The best thing you can tell a player is that kid right there is just a football player. And I think that's what Puka Nacua is, just a football player.
So let's go to numbers 5 and 7, both Dallas Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that George Pickens is leaving Dallas at the end of the year. And I don't know if it's a situation where, from a salary cap standpoint, they don't have any other choice, or is it Jerry just being a tightwad?
I don't know that. I can't answer that, George, but I do know this, that George Pickens, all of his immaturity problems, we know what he did at Georgia, but the guy is an outstanding receiver, and he has got ability that not a lot of guys have, even a lot of guys on this list have. He's elusive. He's a yards after catch guy. Sometimes he's a little bit inconsistent with his hands. He'll get into a slump with his hands catching the football. But, man, you talking about a guy that can run and a guy that can do things that other guys can't do. And I think that's why I got him at number 5. There's a lot of people that had CeeDee Lamb before him, and I like CeeDee Lamb too. I think they're both big targets. I would have loved to have had guys that are the A.J. Browns and the D.K. Metcalfs and the CeeDee Lambs and George Pickens, guys that are taller and can go up and get that thing. I don't know if I ever played with a guy like that, but I was looking and I was thinking about those 2 guys. And, George, I played the game and I've been with some elite receivers. It's hard enough to have one on your team, but imagine having 2. And we talked about Dak Prescott yesterday or the day before, and I always thought Mike McCarthy was brought in to kind of give him a running game and to help kind of balance that thing out. And when you look at the numbers, it probably is balanced out. I'm probably talking out of my head right now, but when you've got George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, it's hard not to throw the ball every time, and I think that's where, as a quarterback, you would like to throw it every time, but you have to have some pressure off of you sometimes. But I can't imagine what Dak Prescott's going to go through, because he's one of those guys that's been around a long time, and I really like Dak. But when you got two elite guys that are always jabbing at you to get them the ball, there's only one ball to go around, and I've dealt with that with one guy. I can't imagine having both of them on my team and having to jab and say, guys, there's only one ball. You got to set them down and say, hey, there's only one ball. Both you guys are great. You both run great routes. You both can catch the ball. But I have to react to what the defense is giving me. I don't need you coming back saying I'm open every time, because that's just not true, and that's what they do. But, man, when you have two elite guys like that on your team, George, it's hard to satisfy both of them.
It's a shame that, coming out of college, I think that George Pickens probably the best talent-wise wide receiver that we've seen since Calvin Johnson came out in like 2008 or 9. So the character issues, I think, is a shame for me that, he can be a little hot-headed. Yep. And I think at times that plays into, the unfocusedness that George Pickens has on the field, and he'll drop a couple balls sometimes, which is a shame. But if he didn't have those issues, he'd probably be higher on
further. Yeah, he would be higher. You're right.
Kelly, there was a day in time where you would have put DK Metcalf at the very top of the chart.
Absolutely.
Big, muscular, can go up and get a ball.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you had him at number 10, but it doesn't feel anything like what I saw in Seattle.
It does not. It does not. But, I like the DK Metcalfs, the A.J. Browns, Nico Collins, which nobody really hears. You talk about the kid in D.C. with the Commanders, the McLaurin kid. Nico Collins. Nobody really knows much about him either. But I love, and that's why I put him on here, man, because he's a bigger guy. A.J. Brown's a bigger guy. I didn't have the luck of playing with guys like that, man. I can't imagine, because what they are is they got tight end bodies and they got wide receiver speed. And I never got to play like that. I never got to play with guys like that. And I know DK Metcalf, that's kind of, I knew there were going to be some deals with Zay Flowers and DK Metcalf, putting them on the list like this, kind of like Brock Purdy I did the other day. But if you're asking me, those are the guys that have been there. They've done that. And DK is one of those guys that is just big. He's physical, kind of like A.J. Brown, and they're going to catch everything around him. And that's why I put him there. So, you're right, George. He's not what he used to be when he was with the Seattle Seahawks, but he's still got some left in the tank.
Speaking of Nico Collins, I mean, nationally, he's probably not getting the attention that some of these other guys are, but he gets the attention around here because he plays the Titans twice a year, and people know who he is because he dices us up.
And he feels like the poster child for the future.
Oh, yeah.
he can play, man. It was unfortunate that he hurt his knee last year, but and hopefully he comes back after that. But the guy can play, man. And you talking about 50-50 balls, he's the guy that can go up and get it, and he's going to get, they say 50-50, but I think his percentage is above that. I think he's probably a 70-30 guy if you throw a 50-50 ball up to him.
That's well said. We'll go to the break, and we'll talk a little bit of Titans in all this mix and ask some tough questions of Kelly. So stick around. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we just asked Kelly to put together an exercise that he absolutely hates doing, the top 10 receivers in the National Football League. Lewis, if you will, put that list back up there. Kelly, in the last 3 years, would a Titans receiver get in the top 35 in your list?
Oh, gosh.
You'd have to go 1,000-yard Calvin Ridley. That's the closest one.
That's the only one I could think of would be Calvin Ridley.
That might get in the back door of that.
But here's the deal, George. Like you look back in the day, Kevin Dyson, who's friends of mine. We all know Kevin, but they've never truly had. D. Mace is probably the guy, but like
Derek Mason, A.J. Brown.
Yeah, and A.J. Brown. Yeah, I mean, but like Steve McNair never really had a true. Just an overwhelming guy like Jamar Chase or Jackson Smith and Jigba or one of the guys like that. I mean, Derek Mason was probably the only one kind of like that. Now, was he on that level? I'm sure that D. Mace would say that. But those are the guys, Derek Mason and A.J. Brown. If you really think back, the Titans have not really been loaded with wide receivers ever. And Steve McNair, he did a lot with Frank Wycheck, did a lot with Eddie George, but he made a lot of plays on his own, and he was able to extend plays where, when you extend plays as a quarterback, you don't have to have great route runners. You don't have to have great receivers. They're going to get open at some point, and that's kind of what Steve McNair helped them with. So, I think it's exciting to see the new young guy they got from Ohio State, to see all
Carnell
that.
Tate.
That's right, Carnell Tate, and to see if Calvin really can help, and some of the other key pieces that they've got there. So it's going to be interesting. But they've never really been a wide receiver club. If you look back, even when I played them.
No, Tennessee has always been the spot where wide receivers go to die. I mean, D-Hop, Randy Moss,
Right.
Andre Johnson, Julio Jones, the list goes on. I mean, it's just not always been the strongest suit in Tennessee.
Okay.
Those guys that you just said were kind of on the downslide of their
That's
career.
what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's the end of their career.
That's right. Yeah.
So, Kelly, as you look at it as someone who played pro football, is this just unlucky, or is this something that the organization going back 25 years has either not done well, not put enough emphasis on? What causes that?
George, I'll be honest with you, is what I talked about last year. And with Brian Callahan coming in, he tried to change something that had been a mainstay for the Tennessee Titans. If you think about back when they started here, Eddie George, the run game. I mean, you have all these guys that they emphasize the run game back with Jeff Fisher, and they wanted to have an offensive line. They had a really good offensive line back in the day, and they had Frank Wycheck who would get in there and he would get his nose dirty and he would block. But that's what they focused on. They focused on that. They focused on some play action. They focused on Steve McNair kind of making plays with his feet. He could throw the ball. Obviously, he was a great passer of the football. But that was the philosophy of the Tennessee Titans. And then Brian Callahan came in here and he tried to change that. And it's a work in progress because I don't think you can be a smash mouth, line 'em up team in the NFL these days. I think you have to have a competent running game who can win you games down the stretch in situations at the end of the game, but you've got to have a guy behind center that can make plays and can throw the ball, and you have to have people around him in the passing game that can help him and complement him. And I think the Titans, as an organization, started out with Fisher. They wanted to play great defense, and they wanted to possess the ball, and they wanted to be a run-first team, and that's what they were. And it was 25 years like that, and now they're trying to change that. And I think it takes time, and I think this new group with Brian Dable and Robert Saleh, they've got to change that. They understand that, and they're headed in that direction.
Okay. See if you buy this, because what you're saying is, and you're right, when they got here in the early Fisher years, there was an identity. You knew exactly what it was.
That's right.
Okay. They were going to pound you with Eddie. They were going to try to win 16-13, and they certainly won more than their share of them.
Yep.
In the last 3-4 years, and look, it's easy to take this rip when a team goes 3-14 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I have no clue what their identity is. Now, Dable and Saleh are probably going to change that. But in the last 3-4 years, you tell me what their identity was. I have no clue.
Well, they didn't have an identity, George. Sometimes I think that's a little overused, but you're right. You have to have a mainstay, and they had that for decades with the run game. Tom Moore used to talk about, your tendencies, and he said, if you're not very good, you don't have a lot of tendencies because you're trying to throw stuff against the wall and you're trying to figure out what you can do best when you're really bad. But when you're really good, you have tendencies. And then it relies on, I can remember Tom Moore saying in our meetings, we're going to know what we're doing, and then we're going to adjust to what the defense does. They're going to know what we're doing, but if we got guys that run it better than they can defend it, we win. And that's true. And I don't think they have had an identity. I think they've been really bad. I think they've been bad in the draft, and I don't think their offensive line has been inconsistent. They haven't stayed on the field. They haven't had guys that can make plays in the passing game. Plus, they hadn't had the guy behind center that they really feel confident in at this point. And I don't know if we know about Cam Ward just yet. I mean, I think he's a good player, but if you don't have somebody behind center that you're confident in, that can win you games in the National Football League, George, you're behind the 8 ball and you're not going to win games. And that's just where the game is now. And it's creeped its way down into college, and it's also creeped its way down into high school. Because back in the day of the Herschel Walker, the Bo Jacksons, the Tony Dorsetts, You could turn around and you could hand it to that guy, and it didn't
Earl
matter
Campbell's.
who you had at quarter. Yeah, you didn't matter who you had at quarterback. You're going to run the football, and your quarterback can just hand it off and maybe make a play or two on third down, but he don't have to be that. Now, in today's game, it's a throwing game, and you have to have the guy behind center. If you don't have that, and you don't have people up front that can protect him, you're not going to win games in the National Football League.
Yeah, but Kelly, I like what you said. I think it does take time to change an identity of a team, because that has been the entire – I mean, going back to Oilers days with Earl Campbell, and then you got Eddie George, and then Chris Johnson, and then Derrick Henry. So now you're trying to change this identity to fit what the NFL mold is today, and it takes time, and I think that's what they're trying to do. If it works, great. We just got to wait and see.
We're as one of my coaches used to say, Lewis, we're an instant gratification. We're an instant coffee generation here. And when things like Steve McNair didn't have to come in when he was the first round pick for the Oilers back in the day. He didn't have to come in and play immediately. But nowadays the pressure is so great on an organization when you draft a guy first or in the first round, he's supposed to be this franchise guy, and they're paying him all this money, and then you got to step him in and you got to play him. And I think that ruins guys sometimes, because even if you come from the biggest organization in college football, like the Ohio States, the Alabamas of the world, it's different. I promise you guys, it's different when you play in the National Football League, man. Everybody in that league can play, and the scrutiny on Sports Center, on everything, it's like that a little bit in college now, but the pros is a different game, and it takes time to get used to it, and people are not that way anymore. They're not the fans of old saying, hey, it's going to take time for him to gel and to understand this game, because it took me a long time to understand just the ins and outs of playing quarterback in the National Football League. It took me a long time, and I'm glad that I was able to hang around and understand it and learn how to do it. But in today's world, they won't give you an opportunity, because if you don't step in right now, and if you're not successful, they're saying, oh, it's just like every year we talk about the quarterback spot here, and everybody's saying, well, I don't think he's the guy. I don't think. You got to give him time, man. He's got to learn the game. You've got to give him an opportunity, and this generation and our society is not willing to do that anymore.
Okay, let's try this one. So they've spent the 4th pick in the draft on Carnell Tate. And by all reports, early on, there's something to get excited about here. If you pick a wide receiver at number 4, is it not basically to get him in that top 10 list within about 2 to 3 years?
Oh, absolutely, George. I mean, but like man, other than A.J. Brown or Derek Mason, that is what you get excited about, man, because I think the guy can play, man. He's coming from wide receiver university now. I mean, you got all these guys in the National Football League, and we talked about a couple of them already, but like you got Jackson Smith and Jigby, you got the Olave kid, you got Marvin Harrison Jr., you got all these guys from Ohio State. They do a good job of getting those guys ready for the National Football League. And just from the things that absolutely. Just the things that I hear about him, I think they made the right pick. Now, hopefully he doesn't get injured. There's a lot of things that go into making a career, and injuries are one of them. We've seen guys that have come out of the draft and they're supposed to be this, and then they just get the injury bug, man. I played with a guy who was the nicest guy ever, Courtney Brown, who was at Penn State. He was the number 1 overall pick. He couldn't stay on the field. He could not stay healthy, man, and he was a freak of nature. He was like Javon Curse. You've been around Javon, George. He was a freak of nature. When he took his shirt off, he looked like a wide receiver at 290 pounds, and he ran a 4.5 40 as a defensive lineman. It's amazing. But I think Carnell Tate, I really think that he is a step in the right direction of what these guys can do on draft day. and what these guys are expecting, and I think they're going about it the right way, and I think they're starting to get Cam Ward some guys. You know, you got the Bellinger kid that's come in from the New York Giants that is a tight end that's going to help Gunnar Helms, and I think you got it kind of a combo there. So I think if you put guys around him, now we're going to get to see what Cam Ward can do, and if we get him some protection, which I'm not sure that they've done yet, I don't know that. We'll have to see. But I think Carnell Tate was a step in the right direction, George, with this organization, because I think he's one of those guys that can be elite as a wide receiver.
So ultimately, and I think this is the point you're making, is this kid's got some downfield ability.
Absolutely does.
But if your offensive line can't hold on long enough for that quarterback to get it down the field, you haven't got anything.
No, not at all. And you know, in this league, your tackles are huge. Everybody keeps talking about the inside, and it's got to be five guys that are really good. But the Skoronski kid, I think he's a keeper. But the tackles, man, we got Dan Moore, who came from Pittsburgh, and last year was his first year, and he gave up a lot of sacks when he was with the Steelers. And then you got J.C. Latham back at the right side where he played in college. And you know, he got injured at the end of the year last year. And anytime you get injured as an offensive lineman and you're a young guy, or this is any position, you're not getting the experience on the field. So he's still – I think this is going to be his third year, but he still needs some more experience. And I'm not sure that he's the guy yet. And I don't think they know either. So you're right, George. It all starts up front. Everybody says that. That's a cliche on both sides of the ball. It starts up front. But that's been the Tennessee Titans' struggles since I've been on this show and for the last decade. I can remember when the Benji Olsons and all those guys, all those guys up front were mainstays for the Tennessee Titans back in the day.
Go back to those names, Kelly, because it's really we may not have known it at the moment, but you start with a Hall of Famer in Bruce Matthews.
Yeah, Bruce Matthews, absolutely. You got Bruce Matthews, you got Benji Olson, you got Brad Hopkins, you got all those guys up front that were there for a long time. And they could open up holes. They were run guys first, but they could protect the passer, and they could protect Steve McNair. When you got an offensive line like they had back then, you got a chance to win games, and that's why they were 1 yard short of winning the Super Bowl. I mean, that's let's be honest.
It was Bruce Matthews. It was Benji Olson.
Yep.
It was Brad Hopkins. Help me here.
The guy from Florida.
Kevin Mullen?
Zach Pillar
on that.
And I forget your center. I forget who that was.
Initially, it was Stepnoski.
Oh,
or as Frank used to say, Stepper.
Stepper. Was he the one from Dallas? He was the one from Dallas, was he not?
He was the one who came from Dallas.
Yeah.
He was on those first couple of teams. I mean, you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
They had a hell of an offensive line. My buddy Scott Sanderson, Jason Matthews, those were numbers 6 and 7 in a lot of cases. And if there was an injury, man, you had something pretty good you could plug right in and not worry.
But that's why they were successful, George, because it started up front for those guys, and that's why they were successful. And if they can get back to that point, see, you look at what the New England Patriots did for so long, George. They were really consistent on the offensive line. Plus, they had the greatest quarterback. I don't think it's arguably, but the greatest quarterback to play the game. They had a great tight end. He always had a great tight end, and they would plug in receivers, but they always stayed with that offensive line. And Belichick knew that if I can get him protected and we got a good tight end, we can just put other people in there at the running back position, and they always had a good slot receiver. Julian Edelman is the mainstay, but they had Wes Welker as well. They always had a guy that could create matchups inside, and they just had guys outside. But they won a lot of games, and they won Super Bowls with that philosophy, with starting up front. And if the Titans can get there, and they get the guy behind center, which I hope they have, man. I like him. I've heard some great things about him. I hope he does well. But hey, this is a production league, George. You know that. And if you're not producing, you're not going to be there long.
We'll go to the break on that. And who knows what we'll do when we come back, but we will yap on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
If you are struggling with back pain, neck pain, or stubborn nerve pain that hasn't responded to the usual medications or injections, listen closely. At the Dr. Gill Center, we help patients discover why they hurt and how to find relief without surgery. We are Middle Tennessee's leaders in back pain treatment and non-surgical spinal decompression, a gentle advanced technology designed to reduce pressure on the spine, restore space between discs, and help the body heal naturally. Our patients aren't just looking for another temporary fix. They want expertise. They want options they haven't been offered. They want a team that actually listens. And that's exactly what you'll find at the Dr. Gill Center. If you've been told there's nothing else to try or surgery is next, it's time for a different approach. Call 615-882-4838 or visit callmepainfree.com to schedule a comprehensive evaluation and see if non-surgical spinal decompression is right for you. Make 2026 the year you get out of pain. Call 615-882-4838 today.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised, and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hottest track in town, Nashville Sounds Baseball. Welcome to his city.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a race and sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Clarksville, get ready. Because when the doors open at F&M Bank Arena, the noise rises. The walls shake. And the Cats take control. Fast plays. Big hits. Non-stop arena football. Get in the den. Get your season tickets now.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Well, it's nice the band is playing as we welcome all of you back. It's sunny right now. Give it a couple of hours. It might not be. Who knows? We're in a pattern right now where it rains virtually every day. It's like being around a Florida Marlins game, Miami Marlins. I'm trying to think through the days. We are, I think I'm right, 3 weeks from today is the Pro Football Hall of Fame game.
Wow.
Yeah. How about
That's amazing. That's
that?
amazing, man. It is, truly.
So, Kelly, let me ask you this. It appears to me that Robert Saleh has basically made Brian Daboll the head coach on the offensive side. And I give him credit for that. The Jets, and look, I don't blame Saleh a lot for this because I don't think Vince Lombardi could have made any of that work. Their offense was god-awful.
Yeah.
So he's come in here, and it looks to me like he said to Daboll, Just keep me alerted to what you're doing. But on that side of the ball, you're the head coach. What do you think that means, Kelly?
I don't really know what that means, George. I think that it gives him a lot of confidence that Brian Daboll has been a head coach, and he's been a head coach at a very pressure-packed situation. When you go to New York and you're the Giants or the Jets, which the Giants is a New Jersey team, people don't understand that, and the Jets is the New York team, but you're in a pressure situation up there all the time. And I think that gives Robert Saleh a lot of confidence that he's handing the reins over to a guy who's not only his offensive coordinator, but has been a head coach, and he can treat it like that. Now, he's obviously going to be the overall controller of everything, and Brian Daboll is going to have to ask him questions about what I should do here, what I should do there. You're the head guy, but if it was me, that would make me feel really good that I've got a guy that's been there, that's done that. If I have a problem. Obviously, Robert Saleh has been a head coach, but if I have a problem, I can go to this other guy, and we've both been head coaches, and I can ask your opinion on this stuff. And now it's his offensive coordinator, and Brian Daboll has been around. He's been a head coach at New York. He's been with Nick Saban at Alabama. He's been in Buffalo as the offensive coordinator, so he's been in some situations there, and he's had people around him, and that's got to be a great feeling if you're the head coach, knowing that you've got a guy like that and you can turn it over to him and allow him to do the work. Now it's probably putting a little bit more pressure on Brian Daboll. He's like, I gotta show him that the confidence that he's showing in me, I've got to make him feel good about it, and I've got to do the right thing. So all those guys have brought in guys. I mean, even Robert Saleh brought in a guy that he drafted at the Jets and brought him in here as a defensive end. But you're going to bring people that you're familiar with, and Brian Daboll has done that offensively with bringing some guys in with the wide receiver and the tight end and other guys that they're used to, that they know what they're going to get each and every day. And I just think that would be a great feeling for a head coach to have another head coach on his staff that's calling the plays on offense.
I think the best part to note here, and that doesn't get talked about a whole lot, is how much Brian Daboll was a factor in the development of Josh Allen in Buffalo as their offensive coordinator. And then last year, I think he got a lot out of Jackson Dart in New York that not a lot of people saw coming. So I think that's great for Cam.
So let's go back for a second. At the end of Callahan's first year, we had a suspicion that he didn't know what he was doing. The suspicion was completely confirmed at the end of the first half of the opener in Denver, where his clock management skills were absolutely down the toilet. It was embarrassing how dumb it all looked. That was when I sort of said, this ain't going to work. This guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. Kelly, now Daboll comes in and he inherits whatever it was Callahan was trying to do. But before that, a little bit of what Vrabel was doing. What do you think? What strength that he can lean on here?
I think his experience, George, and I think his experience with, being around the game. You're right.
Yeah, but I'm asking, what's the strength of that offense that he can lean on? Because I don't really know.
I'm not sure. I don't think anybody knows. I think he's probably in the meetings thinking and evaluating and saying, I think we can lean on this and I think we can do this, but I'm not totally sure. And when you're in OTAs and you're in these mini camps, all that stuff is great, and you get timing and everything with the quarterbacks and the receivers and his tight end, but you're not out there with pads on. So it's hard to really know anything. You think you know, but you truly don't know. George, I don't know if there is anything you can lean on right now, but I think they feel good about what they've got weapon-wise now. I don't know how good they would feel up front yet. I think there's still a big question mark there. And if I'm Brian Daboll, I think that is the big question mark for me. Like, when we get these pads on, are these guys what we think they are, and can we mold them into something that we want, and can we get enough protection for Cam Ward and to teach him to get rid of the ball? He's we talked about it last year. He held on to the ball a little bit too much in certain times. I think he's kind of used to that, but can we get him the ball out of his hand, and can we get him knowing what we want him to do in a very short period of time? Because I've told you this before, George. It takes a quarterback a certain amount of time to be in one offense to actually learn the ins and outs of the offense, and this is their first year, and it's going to be a learning curve again for Cam Ward. I don't know how much we can expect from that, but I'm not sure that there is something that you can lean on from what the last regime and the regime before that. I'm not sure there's anything you can lean on, George. I just think that they think they've got something, but they don't really know right now.
Okay, let me try it this way then. Doesn't that make their preseason different than a lot of teams? In the old days, in August, all you heard about was David Fluellen. I used to make the joke, there are three things in life that are certainties: death, taxes, and David Fluellen will lead the team in the preseason in rushing. For a while, you could take Fluellen's name out and put Julius Chestnut in. But I'm talking about in these three preseason games, don't you have to start to learn, okay, I think this is what our strength is? Because, I mean, let's face it. While Dayball has looked at a lot of film, we've lived it. We don't know what the hell their strength is. We don't know what it is they can count on. I really don't. I don't have a clue. And so don't these three preseason games mean a lot more to them than most of these teams, which their preseason is kind of Gerber's baby food mush?
I do think it means more, but I think the joint practices that they have, George, nowadays mean more than preseason games.
Good point.
And that's unfortunate. I really do. I think that the preseason games have gotten to a place where guys are trying to keep guys from getting hurt. It probably does mean more to the Titans because it's in front of fans. It's in the stadium. But I think the joint practices that they have now that are kind of controlled, that they can control them, I think they find out more about their team and those things now than preseason games. But back then, we didn't have – like we had maybe one joint practice. I can remember meeting the Buffalo Bills when I was in Cleveland, and we met them in Edinburgh, Ohio, or somewhere like that. I don't know where it was, but it was, or Edinburgh, New York. I don't remember where it was, but that was kind of that was when they started the joint practice stuff. But now they have 2 and 3 joint practices before they have preseason games. And for me, I think that's where they find out more than they do in preseason games right now, George. It is more important for the Titans, but I think those joint practices are way more important nowadays for every team, not just the Titans.
Lewis, you appear stumped.
I didn't know I had a question
coming
to me.
If you've got one, spit it out.
I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with Kelly there. Preseason games, I mean, what, you're going to go with the 1s and 2s for a series, if that?
Yeah, but isn't my point that you can't play it like that because you don't know what you are. You have no clue what your strengths are.
George, I still think they're going to do that with the Titans. I really do. I still think that that's the case. Like they've got like coaches. I'm not saying coaches coach scared anymore, but the whole deal is you've got to get your number one guys through the preseason to when it really truly counts. And that's why I think that more important things are happening in the joint practices where they can control these scrimmages, they can do all that stuff, and they can find out more about in those joint practices than they can on a preseason game field. That's just me, and I think the Titans may go a few more with their 1s than most people, but I don't think it'll be that much more.
And here's another thing. I think that they'd rather take the chance of dropping a couple of games early and finding out what their strength is in the regular season than maybe losing somebody to injury in the preseason. That's, more important than figuring it out at that point.
Okay. Let's end this show in style. Kelly, it has been a disaster of a week thus far.
George.
Notice the nice suit and tie, though.
George, and I'm noticing one thing. Here's the deal. Today, Coach Donnelly called me, and I'll tell you next week what he said. But I told him, I said, we're going to have to start working on George. I'm going to buy George another tie because I've been seeing that tie over and over again, George. I know you got more than one, so we're going to have to bring it out.
I got a bunch of them. A bunch of them.
All right.
Okay, so basically all we're doing is telling you that there were no games last night. But tonight, we do have a major league game, and it's a really important one for the Phillies because all this talk, and look, I hate to admit I kind of agree that the Phillies right now are poised to move past the Braves. But you know what? If Aaron Nola, who will start tonight for the Phillies, continues to pitch like dog meat, advantage Hotlanta. This is a big game for the Phillies. I'm taking them dog meat. When you got an ERA of almost 6 and you get the ball every 5th day, that ain't going to cut it. Aaron Nola, for most of his career, has been a terrific pitcher. I don't pretend to know what's going on, but I know this, it's not working. There's a part of me hopes it continues not to work. But I'm going Philly tonight. So, Kelly, let's examine your situation for a minute. Because tomorrow you won't be with us.
I'm phony.
Do you know what that is, Lewis?
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
Friday Snob.
Friday Snob. Exactly.
Friday Snob.
Tomorrow, however,
we'll be having a great time at the putting zone.
We will be at the putting zone where they are having the World Championship of putting. A lot of money on the line, some great putters. We were out there yesterday to take a look at them. Kelly, none of them asked about you. And I hate to clue you in on that. I got 10 seconds to say, Kelly, have a good weekend. Thanks to all of you for joining us. Please check back in with us tomorrow. See ya.
See ya.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
They've been in these semifinal games before. 2018, they couldn't finish the job. They were trying to finish the job this time around. And to see tactical miscues by their manager, Thomas Tuchel,